Welcome.
Naya,
Good
good.
evening, everyone.
Naya, you good? You could start now.
Today's NBDA Masterclass. I'm not sure if everyone can hear my voice, Joy.
Yep, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's NBDA Masterclass. So, my name is Sekile, and I'll be your host this evening. Thank you all for joining us. We are so excited to have you here, and we look forward to learning together. Today, we are so pleased to welcome our guest speaker, James Hogg. Okay, James is a husband, a father, birth doula, and childbirth educator who is passionate about supporting fathers and families throughout pregnancy, birth, and parenthood. We're so grateful to have him here with us today, and we're so excited to hear from him. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to James Hogg.
Sakile, thank you. Thank you. Truly appreciate it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So grateful for you taking a little bit of your time to be a part of this and to sit and learn for just a little bit. As you can see right here off to the side, the goal of what we're unpacking today is how to be a supportive birthing partner. What does that look like? And the goal is to help you all feel prepared, be calm and confident during birth and the entire experience. So, as we unpack and as we look at this, as we go through this, I want you all to really just sit and ground yourself in a moment for a little bit, so that you begin to shape your mind about how this experience will play out for you. Listen, the goal behind all of this, if you don't remember anything else from what you hear and what we unpack today, understand that the goal is that you have a role, bro. Like I'm looking dead at you. You have a role, you have a purpose, you have a part to play throughout this process. And when you really take the time to learn, I promise you, it's a game changer for both you and your family. Listen, so I am as Sakile said, I'm a husband, father, uh, trained birth doula. I am childbirth educator. I'm an educator at heart. And so the reality of my pathway into this work looks a little different than a lot. But really it's a lot of lived experience. And so my wife and I, we had a plan for completely natural home birth. However, due to complications at that time, we had to pivot. And in that pivot, I saw how valuable and important it was for me to be informed as her partner, for me to be informed as her advocate, for me to be informed as her safety net throughout this experience. And there wasn't a lot of information out there for me, but I'm so grateful that I had the doula and the childbirth education that we had during that time. I was prepared and ready to show up. I was prepared and ready to advocate. I was prepared and ready to do whatever I needed to get done during that time. And so, what I want you to understand right now is that by you leaning in now, by you taking the time to unpack and learn now, it sets you up to be able to pivot and do whatever needs to be done throughout this time. So we're about to dive right into it. So let's go to this first slide right here so that we can see where we're going. Listen, why does your role matter? Look, that's a huge question. And unfortunately, not a lot of guys are asking that same question. They're like, yo, I get it. I understand. I did my part to create the baby, but yo, why does my role matter so much throughout the entirety of this process? Listen, your presence, as you can see right there, your presence provides comfort and security, support, reduce fear and loss, encouragement builds confidence, advocacy helps ensure their voice is heard, emotional support strengthens trust. Small actions can have a lasting impact. Now, let me unpack this in a different way, right? When a father shows up prepared and ready, outcomes shift. Like one of the latest studies that came out and it said that almost 80% of pregnancy related deaths that we're facing here in the United States are deemed as preventable, right? That means we know how to fix them. That means we understand already that there is a specific cause, and based upon that cause, we know how to fix the issue. And so why your role matters so much, another study shows that when there's an active and involved partner, these negative outcomes are greatly reduced. And so what that means for me and what that means for you right now, bro, is that you have the power and you are the key in many cases to help prevent or help stop some of these outcomes that are happening. You know, I think that third bullet really speaks to me a lot. Advocacy helps ensure that their voices, your partner's voice, is being heard. Look, the body knows what to do. And your partner's body feels what's going on and knows that something is right or something is not right. But oftentimes in these spaces, our partner's voices aren't being heard. And because the voice isn't being heard, that means there needs to be some form of advocacy that steps in and provides the support that is necessary to move things to the next level. Now, here's what I really want you to lean into, though, bro. Sometimes the person that's not hearing your partner's voice is you. Oh, me, look, oh, me. Sometimes you are the one that needs to lean in a little bit to listen and hear what's really happening so that you can support the right way. We'll get into that, just a little bit of how to know the plan and all that. But what I want you to understand right now, why it matters for you, is that because the outcomes that we're seeing, the disparities that are there, are preventable. Many of them are preventable, 80%, right? 80%, 8 out of 10 are preventable. And so because of that, that means you have a role to play to help stop those preventable things from happening. Let's go to the next one. Let's see what's popping now. Now let's look at why, or what does support really look like? And here's the thing, fellas, like, this isn't a one size fits all type of situation. This isn't a one size fits all. Like what works for my wife may not work for your wife. What works for my partner does not work for yours, or what works, it variety, right? Based upon you all's relationship and what's happening. But here are 4 tiers of 4 different areas that helps you understand some of the framework to think about what support can look like. Emotional support, right? How do I show up for my partner emotionally throughout this process? Is it reassurance? Is it encouragement? Is it a challenge? Is it whatever it is, emotional support is there? Or is it just a listening ear to really be heard and see what's popping? Physical support. That may look like you performing comfort measures, or it may look like you are helping around the house physically. Those things may happen. Advocacy support. Is it, how do I speak up and show up in a space to make sure the concerns or the birthing plan or whatever it is truly coming about? And that big one, postpartum support. These 4 areas, like afterwards, these are 4 different lanes that you could begin to think through. I would truly encourage you taking the time to look at each of those 4, have an open and honest conversation with your partner to see what does that look like. And as you all are developing and growing and moving through this process, you'll be able to learn and see what support is most necessary for her in these given times. So I really want you to lean into that and understand that there is a variety of ways that you can show up. Now, when we think about the variety of the things, let's look at your 4 main jobs as a birthing partner, right? We gave you 4 windows of what that looks like. Now let's go to this next one and see what are your 4 main jobs as a birthing partner. It might be funny, but the first one, I think is so true. Stay calm. Stay calm. Like, look, in a birthing experience, in a situation where things may get tense and things may be moving fast or things may be shifting, your resolve and calm is going to go a long way. Man, when my wife and I was going through our experience, I love to joke and play around a lot. And so what helped out, or what worked in the beginning didn't work in the end. So when I was trying to joke and be funny, but when it was really serious time, we're at that ring of fire, at that transitional point, it was no time for jokes. But at the same time, as things began to shift and adjust, I wasn't panicky or super anxious, not because I didn't understand the gravity of the situation, but because I knew in that moment what served my family the best was for me to be calm and have resolve. And here's a side note. In order for you to stay calm and not panic or lose it in that space, in that moment, is that you have to have someone or some space for you to go to get those nerves off, that anxiousness off, so that when you return or back in the presence of your partner throughout the experience, you can put up a strong advocacy and a calm and a stoic uh, front for your family, so that they are able to lean into that. Not like you faking, but it is that, hey, in this moment, if I show that I'm anxious, if I show that I'm a little fearful, if I show that I'm that, it may lead to a different thing. Now, that's not to say that you don't allow your emotions and feelings to have its space. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is that as a advocate, as a person that's going to be leading for your family during this space, it's very important for you to stay calm. Second thing is pay attention. Listen, my guy, it's not the time to be on the phone. It's not the time to be all consumed with other things. Lock in and pay attention. Now, I know some guys say, well, I know that when we get to the hospital or when it's birthing time, I'm going to be locked in. Nah, bro, it starts the entire journey. Listen, you can't hold on to this one. You can't rise above the level of your training. All right, I'm gonna say it again. You can't rise above the level of your training, meaning if you don't take the time to practice how to show up, how to stay calm, how to be there, how to provide those things, all of a sudden, when it comes game day, when you are there at the hospital or delivery time, you won't all of a sudden just know how to do it. You have to take the time to learn it. Pay attention. Listen carefully to the birthing person's needs, cues, comfort levels, what's being said at appointments. All those things are important. Speak up respectfully. My guy, it's not a time. I know I said stay calm and chill, but it's not a time to be passive. Not even a little bit. You need to know that you belong in this space. You have something to say in this space. And when you do that, it's a game changer. Support the plan, but stay flexible. We're going to dive into that a little bit later as well, but that's important. You need to support the plan, but stay flexible and understand that things may shift up. Those are your four main jobs. Your four main jobs, once again, stay calm, pay attention, speak up respectfully, support the plan, and stay flexible. Listen, if you're enjoying this, please drop some in the comments. Let me know something. If you got a question, please go ahead, drop that down so we can make sure we stay on top of that. But let's go to the next part real quick. Before birth, how do you get prepared? All right. Again, like I said before, you can't rise above the level of your training. And so before birth, you need to make sure you get prepared by knowing your partner's birth preferences. You need to attend these appointments. Listen, like if you're not attending appointments and if you're not having these conversations about birth preferences, let's talk. We really need to sit down and have a convo, bro, because you playing games right now. Prepare the essentials. Pack the hospital bag, make sure the emergency contacts are all in place. The family knows what's up. Everybody in the birthing team is in their proper position to make this thing shake. Y'all know what it is. Make a plan and talk openly. All these things are vital because when it's showtime, when it's go time, these are the type of conversations that are not able to happen. Let me say this. You may have the luxury to have some of those conversations during this time, but it's so much more impactful if you take the time to have those on the front end so that when it's go time, you already know what time it is. All right. Now let's look at how to know the birth plan, but stay flexible. Now, this is where I really want to spend some time. Let's go to this next one real quick. Now, like I said, my wife and I, we had a plan. We knew from the jump what the experience was going to be or what we desired that experience to be. But what I'm so grateful for is the doula that we had. Shout out to Brandy from the NBDA, who was our doula during that time, who made sure not only did we unpack our plan, but we took the time to unpack what a plan B, C, D, E may look like so that, here's the deal, so that in the unlikely event, but in our case, the likely event that we needed it, it wasn't like we were starting over from square one. Now, some people I know, they was like, well, if you pull up a plan B, that means you plan to fail. I hear you and I get it. But the reality of it is this. If you don't take the time to at least think about and lay out a contingency or plan B or an emergency scenario situation, then you are truly planning to fail in that moment. And so when we had to pivot, my wife and I, when we had to pivot, it wasn't the end of the world. It was dang, that was the experience we wanted. We did want that experience, but it was more so, okay, what is the safest for wife and the baby in that case? And so I need you all to understand that knowing the birth plan is important, right? Knowing what you all desire to have is important, but also understanding that things change. And based upon what is the safest option gives you that perspective and ability to do so. And the way that you do this is, it says expect the unexpected. I hear that. But the reality is the art of asking the right questions. Yo, when you take the time and learn how to ask the right questions, then you're able to get the clarity and the information that you need so that you all can make a well-informed decision that gets you all to the experience that you're looking for. So listen, guys, know the birthing plan, take some time to learn it, unpack it, but be sure as you're walking through with your childbirth education, your OB, your midwife, your doula, all those individuals, have the conversations about the what if scenarios. Again, we're not putting it out in the atmosphere or believing or speaking that is going to be problematic. But when we don't have that laid out, we open ourselves up for something that could be extremely, extremely problematic. So it's very important that you know the plan, but you stay flexible. Now, we talked about what happens before. We talked about how important it is to know the plan, but stay flexible. Now let's look at what should be happening during labor. Like, how do you be helpful in the room? Now, look, guys, I know we're going through this kind of quick. If you are desiring more one-on-one support, more information, more time to unpack these things where you can chop back with me back and forth, man, I know my IG handle is there, my website, all that's laid out. Please feel free to reach out, connect with us, because I promise you, this is a way that you can unpack this and have a better experience with you and your partner. I don't make no guarantees, but I promise you, you won't walk away uninformed. All right, so during labor, here's how you be helpful in the room. Offer support for basic needs, like give the water, help with the food, keep essentials within reach. I was the ice man for my wife during that time. Like whenever the ice chips needed it, I got it. I was the DJ during the time. We had a 5 playlist, and so we went from everything. We went from instrumentals, we went to gospel, to trap, like to Afro beats. All that thing happening, I was controlling that because we had the conversations early on and understood that. So offer basic needs, support during breathing. Keep that breathing calm. You walk through that to make sure the atmosphere is A1. Provide comfort. Massages, counter pressure, an arm to help her lean, a sturdy spot for some of those hip opening and pelvic floor things. All those things are options. Create a calm space. That's the one right there. Reduce the noise, limit distractions, and protect the environment. That's the one, bro. It's your job to protect that space. Oh, my mom and them, it's your job to protect that space. So that means, hey, listen, if family is doing the most, hey, bro, it's time to slide. I appreciate y'all sliding through, but it's time to dip. If there needs to be a conversation with a provider, you help facilitate and walk that conversation through. Look, man, in our scenario, man, we were blessed that our doula was there with us. This was July 2020, in the middle of the pandemic. So not a lot of people were allowed. We're grateful that our doula was allowed to be there. But it was a scenario where, listen, my wife was like, yo, Hogue, baby, you handle all that. And I was handling those conversations. Like they would come bring a suggestion. I would say, hey, you know what? Can we get a little bit of time, or do we need to make a decision right now? Ask that question, they dip out, and then we talk through it. My wife, myself, the doula, we talk through the scenario, and then they return, and then we answer, and we're united front having that conversation. And so you create that calm space. You limit the distractions. You make that within reason. Now, within reason, things may shift up that it needs to adjust, but within reason, you handle that. And lastly, you encourage rest. Keep the things calm. Get to relax. Like, hey, if there's an option for us to slow things down, have that conversation with the medical staff. Like, hey, can we just chill? Hey, but you know what? Before we move on to this part, Is it okay if X, Y, and Z? Or some people are in the mind frame that I'm not asking for permission. I'm just informing, like, hey, my wife is going to go use the restroom right now. Or, she's going to jump in the shower right now. All those things play out based upon your scenario, but be sure that you are a part of the conversation and unpacking with the medical staff there. So here are some words that I believe could help during labor, right? Something along the lines like, hey, babe, I'm right here with you. One step at a time. Like, hey, listen, we're not trying to get this in one fell swoop. As my man Nipsey said, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not a mid distance. It's not. No, it's a marathon. Understand, one step at a time. And here's I'm gonna keep going. I'm right here with you, one step at a time. You are doing great. Those words of affirmation are vital. One contraction at a time. Hey, listen, we're not trying to conquer this, trying to go from 0 to 10 centimeters. Nah, 1 centimeter at a time, or however you lay it out. Just let them know that I see the progress and I'm speaking out the progress. So now that you don't feel like we have to go so long way, we just got to put one foot in front of the other. You are not alone. Now, listen, this type of language is great during the labor process. Is extremely great during that time. But if this is the only time that you start talking like this, it can feel a little different. It can feel like, I hear you, but I don't know if I believe you 100%, right? And so the reality of it is that this starts long before labor happens. This becomes a part of the process as you and your partner continue to grow and build. You begin to develop. I know what to say for her to know that I'm here. I know what to say for her to know that I'm locked in with her. And so this is something, these words build over time. And when you take the time to know your partner well, then you know where to touch her, what to say, so that things progress. So these are some helpful words, some helpful in the world of education, some helpful sentence starters that can help you keep the ball rolling for your partner. Now, here's some things I wanted to look at. Sometimes when we think about advocacy, it's oftentimes where people feel like they have to come in like a bull in a china shop and just take over the entire process. What I want us to look at is, how do we advocate without taking over? How do we advocate? Again, this is you and your partner's experience, but this is vitally your partner's body that's going through and doing the majority of the heavy lifting throughout this entire time. And so it's very important that you advocate, but it's also equally important that you don't take over or try to center yourself or let anyone else center themselves inside of this given process. So ask some very specific but respectful questions, like clarifying information without when something is unclear. Do so and listen without interrupting or challenging care providers. This is a delicate dance that you have to unpack. And I want to be as frank as possible, if you will. As speaking from my experience and a lot of the guys that I work with, as Black men, as Black fathers stepping into this space, it's a delicate dance that you have to perform to advocate without being put in a position where you become this angry Black guy who is now all of these fragile nurses and people are fearful of you, and now you are removed from the scenario completely. Because if that happens, then now the covering and advocacy and the support is now removed for your partner, and that is absolutely what we don't want to do. And so it's a delicate dance to be able to respectfully and with the appropriate decorum ask the questions, but at the same time, sometimes you got to turn up, right? And I get it. Right? We can turn up with our words, but when we're armed with the proper information and knowledge, we are able to appropriately take up the space and bring and rise to the level of the appropriate seriousness for a moment. But at the same time, we keep our dignity, our partner's dignity, everyone's dignity intact. But sometimes you got to let them know what it is. How to advocate without taking over is to request more time. what I just said. Like sometimes just say, hey, do we need to make a decision now, or can we take a little time with that? And center your partner's voice. Always lead back to, hey, my partner desires this. Hey, my partner is this. Like those things are so important. And one thing that my wife and I did when we were going through the process early on, she let the providers know that, hey, listen, man, my husband will be handling a lot of these conversations with you all. So they knew from the front end, this is what's happening. And we were there for quite a while. As a matter of fact, it was like 37 hours in labor that we were there. So there were several shift changes that happened. And each of those shift changes, we had to let the folks know, hey, listen, when those questions come in, especially if I'm in the middle of a contraction, hey, talk to my guy over there. I got this, right? But it's so important to advocate without taking over. Questions partners can ask the care team is this: like, listen, can you explain the risks and benefits? Is this urgent, or can we have more time? What are our options right now? Like, oftentimes the provider will provide you with what they want to see happen right away, but there are options, and sometimes those won't be presented until you ask what the options are. What happens if we wait? That's a vital one. Like, yo, do we need to make a decision at this very moment? Can we let things play out and see what's happening? And can we have a moment to talk? I love that one. Can we have a moment to talk? Because, you know, in a birthing space, in a hospital space, it could feel high pressure. And a part of the thoughts is that there wouldn't be a suggestion of something in case there wouldn't be a suggestion of something if it's completely unnecessary, right? We may have a different view of how things should play out, but from what I've experienced, the reason something is brought up is for a reason. But the reality of it is how do I slow the room down, right? Slow things down so that you and your partner and your care team can have a moment to talk, think through it, weigh out options, and move forward. I'm gonna let you in on this. If it's an emergency, like a life or death or dire situation, you will know it's serious. You would know, like the whole atmosphere in the room will shift up. A lot of people will be rushing in. If it was that serious, it'd be that. You would know that for a fact. But I think it's vital to always ask, do we have time? Can we slow it down? Is this something that needs to be done right in this moment? Let's keep this thing moving, man. We're almost there. What not to do as a birthing partner. We talked about what to do, what questions you should ask the provider, how you should show up. Here's what not to do. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't do that. Don't panic. Show fear in a way that increases stress in the room. Like, yo, in your mind, you be like, okay. You might need to work on your poker face. I hear that. Don't panic. Don't appear or become unavailable when the support is needed the most. Listen, bro, don't, hey, man, I need to run out, get something to eat. Nah, bro, that's why you should prepare beforehand, had a hospital bag packed up with all the snacks and charges and all that you need so that you don't dip out in the moment. Birth is a marathon, but it can speed up and slow down and change up in any moment. Don't argue with the care team in the room. Like, yo, that could create an entire level of stress or experience for your partner that slows things down. If you need to have a real conversation, step out in the hallway. Like, prime example, when my wife and I was going through our doula, some things were happening overnight that weren't quite what we wanted them to be. Very early, once we realized what was happening, my doula was like, hey, James, let's talk in the hallway real quick. We had to have a real one seminar in the hallway, and when we went out in the hallway and talked through what it was, we was like, oh, I see what they own. Now, when we go back in, we're united front. My partner doesn't see or know that what state we're in, but it was, hey, let's step out in the hallway, have this conversation so that we're all on the same page and know how to activate when need be. Sometimes you may have to have that conversation with the provider, like, hey, can we step out? Or I've had a client that I work with that they were having a rough go with their provider, and they chose to just document and see what was happening. The provider got baby delivered, mom was safe, and then afterwards, husband had that conversation with the provider. His rationale was like, listen, I didn't want to call him to the carpet in this very moment. because I wasn't sure how he would take it or that individual would take it, which would lead to a lack of care or professionalism in the remainder of our experience. And so you have to weigh those things out. Don't speak over the birthing person or make decisions for them. Y'all make them as a team. Don't ignore birth plan without discussion, right? Don't allow mom or other family members or anyone else to dictate the birthing plan without you and your partner having that discussion to see if this is where it is. Now, guys, this may be a difficult time. Some of you all may have to have that hard conversation with your mom or your loved ones to say that, listen, this is our experience. I know and I love you, mom. I love you, aunt. I love you, big sister. I know you got my best interests at heart, but listen, this is us. This is me and my partner. That ain't y'all. Slide. All right. And lastly, don't make the experience about your own emotions or comfort. You are a part of it. You matter greatly, but the vast majority of this is on you and your partner. So that's what not to do during birthing as a partner. How do you show up there? Please be reminded that after birth, it doesn't stop. This is just the beginning. There is an entire process. One study found that a majority of the birth-related deaths that we're seeing is happening in this postpartum period. And so understanding how to show up, what to do, and how to be fully involved is a game changer during this time. You can support through feeding and recovery. You can support by helping out around the house. You can support by making sure all those things are laid out. But the last thing is this. The last two bullets I really want to lay into. Take care of your own mental health. Listen, take care of your own mental health, fellas. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. If you are constantly pouring out to mom, constantly pouring out to your partner, as you should, and not taking the time to be developed and filled up on your own, you will eventually burn out. You'll eventually run out of steam. You'll eventually run out of things that can be poured out, and then it becomes problematic for us all. Let's look at this next one right here. Support feeding and recovery. Support the breastfeeding, help with the different positioning, share responsibilities. Like, this is not a time for you to kick up your feet. Oh, we made it. No, this is a deeper part of the process. Offer emotional reassurance during challenging moments. Respect their choices and avoid pressure or criticism. Listen, this is a new space for you all. Like, this could be an entire talk in and of itself. This is a new space and experience for you all. What you all used to be before babies are here is not the same that you are afterwards. So don't expect things to look and feel the exact same way, but understand this is an opportunity for you all to grow and develop and move beyond. So support during this time, especially for feeding and recovery, is so vital. And here, man, here's a little checklist for you all, your partner support checklist. Listen, stick with me. Birth preferences and key wishes. Understand that. Make sure you understand what those things are and lay those out clearly. Hospital or birth center location and route. Listen, bro, understand if I leave at this time, here's how I get there. If we have to go through this time, traffic is usually on this street. Let me go around. Oh, all those things. Know the varying routes and how to get there. Emergency contacts and care team information. Get those locked into your phone. When things start to progress and it's showtime, know how and who to contact when. Comfort measures and help during labor. Understand a variety of comfort measures. My wife and I, we got a couple videos coming out that'll unpack what these comfort measures looks like, how you should perform them. Please make sure you understand that. Support people involved in the birth. Know who your support people are, where you want them to be involved, and how you want them to show up, and your postpartum and recovery plan. As you're unpacking your birth preferences in your plan, please don't forget to include your postpartum needs and your recovery plan. Last thing here, man, as we finish up, I really want to ask you this question. How will your partner know that you were prepared? How will your partner know that you're prepared? What way will you show up so that your partner truly understands and knows that you were prepared? Listen, man, I recently had the opportunity. I work in education. I recently had the opportunity. I dropped a video about this. I had a recent opportunity to observe a science class. And in that class, the teacher was talking about isotopes. For those who are like, hey, listen, it's summer break. I ain't trying to hear nothing academic. I hear you, but isotopes are a version of an element with a different number of neutrons, right? It's still the same element, but there's a different number of neutrons, and that different number or that differing number of neutrons dictates how that element will react. Its volatility, its stability, all those things are determined based upon how many neutrons are there in that given element. Listen, birth is still birth. Mom is still the center of this experience. The family is still the center of this experience. But when dads are involved, that is like adjusting the number of neutrons. When dads truly are involved, it helps understand, how does this thing really react? What kind of stability is available around it? It's still the same experience of giving birth, but with dad involved, the volatility shifts. When dad's involved, the stability shifts up. When you take the time to be involved fully, not just taking up space, but fully involved, fully present, fully prepared, it changes the entire atmosphere of the experience. Sometimes you change the entire volatility and what stability looks like for us all. So how will your partner know that you were prepared? And I want you to have an honest conversation with your partner after this class about their needs, their preferences, and how you can best support them during birth and postpartum. Listen, I appreciate y'all giving me a little bit of your time. I'm James, Fathers, Assistant Mothers. Please feel free to reach out, and I would love to field a few questions if you all have them, so that we can understand how to unpack and move forward with each other a little bit more. Appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you so much, James, for sharing your knowledge. And I would just love to ask you a few questions.
Absolutely.
So, what are the top often, unintentionally?
Say it one more time. I think you cut out. Say it one more time.
Hey James, I think it was just some technical difficulties.
Okay, no worries.
How can partners prepare for birth trauma conversations if it's a difficult experience that occurs?
Yeah. So how can they prepare for a potential difficult experience?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a. I want to be careful with this. I don't want to say you look up and research, because I don't want you to put that thing out there, or to say that this is going to be experienced, or allow someone else's fear or negative situation to impact you in that way. But I think it's important to really take a moment to see the various scenarios that could happen. All right, so listen, we want it completely natural, but what does it look like if we have to be induced? Okay, here's what an induction looks like. Here are a variety of pathways for an induction, so that in case it does come up, you know how to ask the right question. So I think it's important to make sure that you have a quality childbirth educator. A doula is a great option for that, to unpack you through a variety of things. And then also having open, honest, and candid conversations with your OB or medical provider, so that they can offer you some suggestions and information on a different scenario. So I think for me, I think the most important way to show up in that way is to do some research about a variety of scenarios that could come about. Not that you are planning for those things to come about, but that you are prepared, so that in case it does, you know how to show up the appropriate way.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And here's our last question. What are some common mistakes that partners make during pregnancy and labor, often unintentionally?
Yeah, I think, one way that I've seen a lot of guys drop the ball, so to speak, I put it in two ways. One, it is realizing that you and your partner's experience is you and your partner's experience. I think I mentioned that a little earlier, but I really want to underscore that a little bit more because our experience about birth and all of those things comes from what we've been exposed to. And oftentimes the mistake is that we allow others' experiences and thoughts dictate how we show up for our partner. So that's one aspect there. And I think the second aspect is that many guys are too slow to get involved, realizing that, hey man, I'm not feeling any kicks. It's not me, it's not growing inside my body. So once baby get here, I will provide. And I'm gonna make sure my baby have everything that their need to show up. I get it, but the emotional and the connection piece starts long before that. And it's so important for you to take the time, or guys to take the time to understand that and be involved so that when it's go time, you have something to pull off of. I tell guys oftentimes like this, having a quality birthing experience is like a bank account. You don't go to the bank account and get a withdrawal if you haven't made deposits. So every time you show up to an appointment, that's you making a deposit. Difficult conversation with you and your partner, that's a deposit. As you show love, those are deposits. So when it's time to withdraw from that, you have sufficient funds to pull something from. And so I think a lot of guys make mistake thinking that, okay, whenever it's go time, I'm gonna show up. I hear you, but in order to show up, you have to have taken the steps on the front end.
Thank you so much, James. That was great. Is there anything else you want to leave or say to our viewers as we wrap things up?
Listen, fellas, I need you to understand that you have a tremendous role to play, and that when you fully show up, the family wins. And I really want to lean in this question again. For those who are expecting, how will your partner know that you were prepared? How will you show up differently for them to know, yeah, he took the time to learn and be involved with this process? Appreciate y'all time, man. I love it.
Thank you so much, James. And I'm just going to give just a few announcements. So, for our upcoming events, we do this every month. We have monthly master classes for doulas and for our general public. But we also offer plenty of other events for doulas and families as well. So, our first upcoming event is actually our Practice How You Doula over PMADS this June 6th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This will be via Zoom and led by Imani Byers Quarterman. She is a certified NBDA trainer as well as a therapist. And we will also have our membership orientation event on June the 10th. This is for anybody interested in becoming a member or wanting to learn more about the membership that NBDA offers, or you may have just become a member and want to know how to fully get the best of your membership. This event is for you. This is again June 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we do have our Journey to Doula World on June the 17th. This is for any aspiring doulas, any new doulas that are looking for that next path in their journey. This is for you to come, ask questions, gain knowledge, and gain community. Thank you all, NBDA family. You all have a great one.